always so pleased when that happens. That works. That channel is open. So may we find some comfort. May we find some comfort in these times. In these times when our logical mind has a great deal of challenge understanding what's going on. And as human beings, that is our desperate desire, that we understand here what's going on. What's going on over there? What's going on inside of here? This is the problem, that we believe there is anything other than a spiritual solution to what's going on. The terror and the bloodshed of war, be it in Israel, Palestine, Gaza, the Ukraine, the Congo, any place on earth where there is conflict, is incredibly challenging to understand. And so from my perspective, very humbly, as always, inside of my own struggle to understand what's going on and what to do about it, I offer you this morning, as I offer myself, what it might really feel like to be in the arms of the angel. What does it feel like when you take the time to sit with what you might call God or the divine spirit, or you walk in the woods or on the beach, and you are able to take in the vistas so that you can actually take in the unlimited vista within you? What's that like? I've been thinking a lot about the image of angels. And angels are a controversial subject, regardless of what branch of the Abrahamic faith you practice, don't practice, understand, don't understand. Angels can be seen as a little bit woo-woo. Unity can be seen as a little bit woo-woo by some, depending on how you define woo-woo. And yet the thing that keeps me coming back to New Thought and to unity as a faith, as a denomination in particular, is its practical application. We come to church to connect with one another. We come to church to see one another. We come to church to recognize ourselves as the face of God, in the face of God of each other. Yes. But we also come, I believe, seeking tools, looking for ways to understand, looking for ways to find comfort. And what I've been turning over and over this week with images of angels that keep showing up is that I understand I don't spend enough time in those arms. God can speak to us in so many different ways, but the challenge when we've got earbuds in or when there is too much noise is that we are not able to hear what God has to say to us. That's why we spend the amount of time we do in meditation and reception, being able to receive the Word of God, not so much in the book of days, but the Word of God that moves us forward, that helps us make choices, that helps us make the decision to say, yes, I will come and preach again. Yes, in the midst of my challenges in my life, I will come. Each and every one of you sitting here and online, thank you. It's beautiful to see you all. Each and every one of you decided to be here. And part of you, I believe, is hungering for images, for structure, perhaps a structure for surrender. So I titled this talk, Surrender to be Led. And I do not mean that in the subservient, I am a follower always way. I mean that in the most courageous, practically applied, strength-filled move you can come up with, which is to surrender. To give up that belief that there is an answer and that somehow you will be the one, and perhaps the only one, to find it and apply it. And in these moments, when the world seems on the precipice of whatever, and I feel like the storm, which is a theme running through all of our music today that I didn't realize until this morning, all the things that we chose have the word storm in it, and the image of coming beyond the storm. In this moment of the storm, I find there is nothing to do but surrender. Not, again, in a passive way, but almost as if we are a new EV needing to plug in to charge for a couple of hours. Most of us give less time, if we have an electric vehicle, we give less time to our spiritual recharging than we do to the car battery. This is true for most of us. Somehow we move through life and we believe that spiritual understanding and strength and capacity will somehow flow naturally. We say a few prayers, a couple of affirmations, and then we wonder, why don't I have the answer to life's major issues yet? And I would offer that partly it's because we haven't listened long enough or hard enough in the ways that make sense. For me to do that, for me to listen, this is the practical part, I need to find space within myself to feel as if I am held by an angel. As if there is something touching me, creating a metaphysical, holy oxytocin release, the love of the mother, holding me in the space where I can recharge so then I can go forth and serve. My mentor, Kim Crawford Harvey, the Reverend who is at Arlington Street Church in Boston, she's a Unitarian Universalist minister. She's been practicing for about 35 years. Brilliant. And she's one of my key preaching mentors. And she used to say very simply, like so many congregations do, that the service begins when the service ends. We sometimes forget that. We see that as obligation. We talk about caring for one another when we're in these seats or downstairs at coffee hour. But I really would invite you to understand more deeply that in this time we are called to care for one another so powerfully, not so much to turn the tide which may be unturnable, but to be present with one another to do what we can. And so, again, on the way up from Boston, I live in Belmont. On the way up, I had a couple of insights and awakenings, and a couple of you said to me this morning, I'm anxious to hear about your drive because I will often share that as a frame. So, without the details offered, I will say, have any of you seen the restroom beds, the changing tables? Yes, you've seen changing tables that come off the wall. Well, I don't know if you know the number one most produced and most popular changing table that you will find out there. It might occur to you because you've seen this logo 1,000 times. It's Koala Care. Koala Care. It's adorable. Koala Care. But here's what I realized glancing at it this morning while washing my hands. The picture is of a mother koala bear, I would imagine. I don't know much about koalas, so we won't go to gender. But the parent koala is holding the baby koala, big koala, little koala, and I realize it matches the imagery I have at home of actually a brilliant white angel. It's a tiny little piece that my husband gave me, painted in Puerto Rico. Little tiny piece that I never really even understood until I looked at it this morning. I actually have had it for years, and it just seemed like a white dash against color. And I realized this morning that it was the arms of the angel, like the mother koala, like every other parental unit there to hold and protect and create space for grace so that we can rest, so that we can find that strength to move forward and move on into what's needed. This week, I have also been thinking about the image of angels so much that, again, second insight, on the way here, I was listening to NPR, as I often do, and I heard a report locally about 4 towns in Massachusetts, Hyannis is not one that was mentioned yet, who have instituted a program which blew me away called Snow Angels. And not the snow angels, which you get when you lay down in the snow and you go like this, right? But snow angels in this program are people who have volunteered to pair up with people, often older people, or people who are differently abled in some way, who can't shovel themselves out when there's been a snowstorm and before they get a ticket municipally for doing so, right, for not actually clearing that space. And what they have done is put together those in need and those who can offer help. And they call it snow angels. And I thought just being open to the presence of angels and to that angelic space within us, just imagining. In fact, I invite you now to do this. Close your eyes. And however you imagine an angelic presence, whether that image is trees surrounding you in a forest, whether that image is a kangaroo or a koala mama, whether that image is your loved one, your beloved, holding you, encircling you, whether that is your own arms holding you, allowing space. Just feel that for a moment. What does that feel like to be held? For a moment to believe that it is okay. This is a break so that you feel okay. And releasing that image, I would offer you this morning the charge, the responsibility with that experience to then let the arms of the angel open so that you can step out and serve. Imagine now that the arms of the angel become your arms, your hands, the very hands of God. And imagine that your gorgeous wings, short or long, feeble or fabulous or both, imagine that your hands are your wings and that you are the arms of the angel for the world, a world desperately in need. Hold yourself in that sacred posture and seek to serve today, tomorrow, and in the days that follow. For I tell you today, storms will continue to rage, and there is always a silver, sweet song of a lark to follow. And so breathing that image in, coming back to your sacred structure for knowing your own angelic presence and power. Let's breathe in and out one more time. Breathing in and out. Letting the angel fly away and yet remain, ready to spread her wings, his beautiful capacity to love. And a little bit more song. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden light and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain,
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.